This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Let's do some fan questions here. Push Wrath, whatever that means, wants to know, when MVP debuted back then, did you ever expect him to still be an important figure on TV 15 years later? Bruce, in your opinion, what makes MVP such a good personality for WWE?
I think it's a chance to evolve and change, and it's that character has grown. So he has changed and he has evolved through the years, and has the aptitude to do so.
Lindsay writes, William Regal pretended to be afraid of heights. Was anyone actually afraid to climb ladders in a ladder match?
Almost everyone in a ladder match, yes. I mean, Regal didn't like heights. Big Show didn't like heights. Flair didn't like heights. I don't think, you name it. A lot of guys didn't like climbing those ladders. I climbed one just to show, hey, man, I can do it. And I got up to the fourth rung, and I was like, yeah, no, you know what? Fuck this. It's scary up there. I mean, come on, it's scary. And people are bouncing around and shit. It takes a great deal of skill to navigate the ladders, navigate those waters when there's a billion things happening around you.
Instagram a wrestling historian wants to know, how was MVP protected from getting seriously burned? He covered himself in jail.
We went to not get seriously burned us and shit, and we're able to take care of him.
Nick wants to know, Armageddon 06 is one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time. Bruce, can you provide any insight as to how this card got so stacked with gimmick matches?
I think that when we found ourselves at the end of the year looking at how a lot of times the pay-per-view attractions towards the end of the year didn't always perform. So there was a bit of an emphasis on gimmick matches and doing things different at this point of the game to try to attract people, maybe have more gimmicks in it, and eventually you would get to everything being themed, but that was more the reason than anything.
Steve wants to know, how did Chris Benoit feel about being involved in the Chavo Vicky storylines? Knowing how Eddie's death affected him, was it a personal struggle for him and he was just doing what was asked of him, or was he able to separate the two?
I think that he was able to work with Chavito and Vicky, and it was as if Eddie was still there, and being able to work with them gave it a comfort and a normal feeling.
Well, next week, Bruce, we're going to be doing something a little different. Instead of going back 15 years, we're going back 25 years. One of my favorite pay-per-views that was seemingly a B show. I still enjoy it. It's In Your House, It's Time. It's the pay-per-view that's named after Vader that Vader's not even on. Bret Hart, coming off of his return at Survivor Series, will be here taking on the newly crowned world champion, Psycho Sid. The Undertaker is going to take on the Executioner in an Armageddon rules match. So this is a rare opportunity to see the Undertaker wrestle Bam Bam Gordy here in the WWF. Hunter Hearst Helmsley will defend his Intercontinental Championship against Mark Marrow. Steve Austin's going to attack the British Bulldog before his tag title match with Owen Hart against, of course, the fake Diesel and the fake Razor, or as you say, just Razor and Diesel.
Well, it's just Razor and Diesel.
Plus we got Flash Funk, the former Too Cold Scorpio, taking on Leif Cassidy, who we know is Al Snow.
He's super funky.
It's going to be a good show, man. I really like this one. I don't know why I like it so well, but anything the end of 96 is just my jam. West Palm Beach, Florida. Any good West Palm Beach stories we're going to hear next week?
None we can tell.
Oh, I got to hear that. You know what?
One time, my brother Tom and I was kind of at the end of my rope, and I think he was at the end of his rope, and we were both kind of just burnt out. And we did the Girls tour. And we went to the Dollhouse in Fort Lauderdale. They got girls. And we hit all of the clubs that they mentioned in that song pretty much on A1A in West Palm, Fort Lauderdale, Boca. And we had us a hell of a week. But we did a sampling of the establishments that were mentioned in the girls music video.
Did you have a favorite?
Song. Do we what?
Did you have a favorite?
Probably the Dollhouse, just because it was the Dollhouse. Well, we did. We had a good week, man. We ate some great seafood, and it was a week where we just laughed until we hurt, like all day. It was just we did stupid shit and just tried to bust each other up, and it was just so much fun.
Well, it's been a lot of fun, me and you. You know, it's been a crazy ride. 5 years and 300 episodes later, Bruce. Here we are getting ready for. I know, right? Can you believe it?
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
I thought we just started doing this.
Well, it feels like we did.
Okay.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Hey, you know what? We got to give a shout out to Pat McAfee again, because I busted his chops and he gave us a shout out. And so this time I'm making him wait and listen all the way to the end of the show before we give him a say, hey, Pat.
How is Pat doing?
Pat's awesome, man.
I get it. It's a wrestling podcast, but he's saving us money on our mortgage. You really trust this process? The reviews don't lie. 5-star review after 5-star review. We make it fast, we make it easy, and it's no cost or obligation. Give us a shot to earn your business. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did, especially if you like keeping more of your own money. You don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket, so what are you waiting for? Hurry to savewithconrad.com.
Pat's awesome. He just donated a bunch of money to his high school.
Oh, that's cool, man.
He's a wonderful guy.
Well, I'll tell you what, he makes SmackDown a whole lot more fun. He's doing a great job, and I hope everybody checks out his show as well. And Bruce, next week, man, In Your House, number 12, December.
My house is still being remodeled. They're tearing it up downstairs.
You want to catch us up on that?
Man, there's not much to catch up other than I don't have any lights in the basement. So when I come home at 4:00 in the morning and I pull in, and I've got to use my flashlight on my phone to find the stairs and things like that.
That's less than ideal.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll see, because they're supposed to come in. They're supposed to put lights in this week, and then we go to Mexico and I'm gone. And I'm leaving the house in charge of people that are going to be here at the house. That's going to be interesting in and of itself.
Are you going to Mexico for work, or is this the old house gimmick that we talked about?
This is the old Connie house gimmick.
Man, I'm disappointed that you get the last shot there and not me. But I hope you have fun.
Well, you got the first shot.
Dude, it was like our favorite little vacation spot, and now poof, you're the last tenant. That sucks, dude.
Yeah, well, sorry.
But it doesn't suck talking about old wrestling with you. We'll be back talking all things 1996 next week. I just love that era. And we want your questions, man. If you've got a question for us, fire them off over on Twitter. It's at Prichard Show. You can also catch Something to Wrestle on YouTube. That's the best way to introduce the wrestling fan in your life to the show. And Bruce, I'm fired up, man. 1996. It's my favorite era to discuss wrestling, and we're doing it again next week.
Can't wait.
We'll see you sooner rather than later, right here on Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard.
Rock on.
Armageddon happens from Richmond, Virginia, December 17th, 2006. There's 8,200 fans there. 7,100 of them were paying $423,500. Did pretty decent on pay-per-view, better than maybe you remember. 239,000 pay-per-view buys, which is a lot more than we hear about these days. The 05 Armageddon show featured Randy Orton and The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell. So the year prior had a pretty decent main event, right? 320,000 buys too. So it is a pretty substantial drop, but it feels like since we've got December to Dismember and this show, we're really trying to split our audience a little bit here. And I don't think that gets talked about because even though that was a terrible show, you had 2 pay-per-view offerings in the same month from the same company. So you're asking for a lot, right?
Too much.
Yeah.
I just think it was too much product thrown at everybody too soon.
The readers of the Wrestling Observer had this 73.4% voted as a thumbs up, which keeps the SmackDown pay-per-view streak of good shows going. In this era, sort of the infancy of the brand split, or the early years of the brand split, did you feel like one was a stronger television product and another was a stronger pay-per-view product, or maybe one brand did better on house shows or what have you?
I think they were pretty equal on house shows. I think SmackDown, and maybe it's just because throughout the 2 shows, I always concentrated more on SmackDown. So I always felt that SmackDown was a better show. Not to say that Raw wasn't great, but I thought SmackDown, if I had to choose one, I'd choose SmackDown.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.